Okay, so we're starting Kuf Chaf Beis Summit Beis. That's 122 B. It's towards the end. There's two dots here. We learned in the Mishnah of Chullin Daf that all skins that were tanned are not tamei, with the exception of human flesh. It's skins that were tanned, or that were trodden upon. That's also like tanning, like wrapped around the foot. So it means that they're made into something that's not flesh. So then they're not considered part of the animal to give off to Masnavela. So the Gemara says hilachin la hilach lai. Only if it was trodden upon will it not be considered flesh. But if it wasn't trodden upon, then it will be considered flesh. V'hatani Reb Chia, but Reb Chia taught, and Reb Chia teaches Brises, that oizen chamar shetala lekupasei tahira. If someone sewed an ear of a donkey onto his basket, it's tahir. Now, we're saying that once he sews it on, that's enough, even if it wasn't used yet. So here also we're saying once he would take this skin and put it around his foot to step on it, so that should already be good enough. Now tala, once you sew it on, it's good enough. And afagav hilach. So that should be the same thing even by walking on it. If you just put the skin around your foot, that should be considered good enough even before you walk on it. That's the same sort of action. Setting it up to be used differently should already make it not considered flesh. Gemara says lai. Tala is one thing, but hilach, when it comes to tala, it means sewing it onto the basket. That's one thing, but hilach in lai hilach lai. But when it comes to walking on it, that needs to be actually done, not just wrapping it around your foot to walk on it. Gemara asks kamak de'ibad. How much is considered tanning? It says that if you walked on it, the amount, what was the expression? If you walked on it the amount of time that it's for avodah, so that's considered tanning. If you walked on this leather, on this hide, that's considered. How much is that? How much is that? So Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rabbi Yana, Yabas Milan. It's really okay. It's 4 mil. Now Amar Rabavo, Amar Rish Lakish. That's corrected on the side. Rabavo says in the name of Rish Lakish. Legabel. Rashi learns that someone that's kneading dough for a balabayas, and he needs water to put the utensils into the mikveh. So he has to walk 4 mil until he can get to a mikveh. But more than that, he doesn't have to walk, unless the balabas paid him to do this extra journey to make sure that the utensils are pure. That's the pshat of Rashi. The next case, Tefillah. Someone that's on the road, and he says that he wants to rest. It's getting towards the evening. He wants to rest. It's still day, but so if there's a Beis HaKnesses that's within 4 mil, he should travel those 4 mil still by day in order to be able to daven with the minyan. Untilas yadayim, and also for washing his hands in order to eat. If there's water within 4 mil of his journey, so he should wait until he gets there. Arbas milan. Okay. So we had an expression, we had a measurement of 4 mil regarding tanning, or regarding walking on this leather. Rabavo says that there's another 3 things that have the halachas of 4 mil. A mil is about a kilometer. Amount of time it takes to walk a kilometer. Now, we said Rashi's pshat in Legabel. That means that there's a guy that's making dough, and there's a mikveh somewhere that he could be toivel the kalim. So if it's within 4 mil, then he should go there. Tosfos has a question on Rashi. because the Gemara later is going to say that when do we say that you have to walk 4 mil? That's only if that's on the path that you're headed anyway. So you're on the road and you're headed that way, so we say don't stop, just keep going. But if you're not traveling, or if it's backwards, then it's only 1 mil. So according to Rashi, you have a guy that's doing a job. He's not on the road. It doesn't fit with the Gemara later. So Tosfos says he likes the Aruch's pshat, that we're talking about someone that has dough, or he doesn't have dough, but he's traveling, and there's a guy that's making dough within 4 mil, so he should wait before he eats to get to that person that has dough betara, that has proper dough betara, rather than to get dough here, or which is not betara. However, Tosfos doesn't like the Aruch's pshat when it comes to, we said l'tefillah. We said tefillah means to get to a shul. The Aruch learns tefillah means to wash his hands for tefillah. Tosfos doesn't like that pshat. He says because mimanavshach, is it the time for davening or is it not the time for davening? If it's the time for davening, he's going to miss the time. Then even 4 mil, he doesn't have to walk. And if it's not the time for davening, then he has to walk more than 4 mil. So he's talking about davening with a minyan, that you should put in the effort to go the extra 4 mil to daven with a minyan. How does this correspond today? If you're at home, you have to try to measure effort of 4 mil to get out of the house. That's a measurement of
driving a car.
Yeah.
Seriously,
4 kilometers.
This ruined it for me, man.
Kids, how many mil was that for each kid?
Yeah, no, the place can discuss what's the effort of 4 mil in different circumstances. But that's what you have to measure out. Rabbeinu Chananel says that when it says l'tefillah, you have to go 4 mil instead of Rashi. Rashi says to find a minyan. Instead of the Aruch, it says that you have to wash your hands. Rabbeinu Chananel says it means that you have to go to the mikveh. You have the effort of 4 mil to go to the mikveh before davening, if someone is a carry, if he's tummy. So you said why what about Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says you don't have to go to the mikveh? That was batal. He says that was only batal for Kriya Shema and for learning Torah, but for tefillah you still have to go, or else we don't hold the Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Now, okay, let's move on. Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak. Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Evo, this is this bottom Tosfos over here, by the way, if you want to follow that. Evo Amra. Nachman bar Yitzchak says that it wasn't Rabavo, it was actually Evo, and the name is similar. So Evo is, I think, Rav's father. The father of Rav, his name was Evo. Va'arba Amriba. And he said that there were 4 things. V'chadaminayu is avodah, and that's where this fits in, because the avodah, how long it takes, how long you have to walk on the hide in order for it to not to be considered meat, is 4 mil. Now we have 4 things that the halacha of 4 mil is applied to that measurement. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina leishanu al lefanav. This is what we mentioned before. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says that where do you have the 4 mil? That's only if you're walking ahead. But if you would need to go back to get to the water, to get to the needer, to get to the minyan, you're going out of your way. Even 1 mil, you don't have to go. So on the on Waze, you can put in your GPS if you want to find a gas station along the way, and it tells you how long along the way how long out of the way it is. It says if it's 0 or 0.1 mile out of the way. So you put in for the minyan. So out of the way, 1 mil is already, you don't have to go. But you have to travel 4 mil further, forward in your direction to get to the minyan.
So it's 5. Could be 5 from there.
Oh, you hear what he's saying? It's 4, but you have to go 1 out of the way. So, no, it's not the pshat. That's not the pshat. It's 4 is including that 1. Okay. Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar. Rav Acha bar Yaakov says, Uminei. And from this we understand, mil hudeina chayzer. You don't have to go back a mil. Hapachas mi mil chayzer. But you do have to go back if anything is less than a mil. You have to go out of your way, even in the wrong direction, even backwards, just to be able to get to those mikveh or minyan or washing your hands for davening or for food.
You can skip the next part to the process.
Tanarabanan. Ligyain. Ligyain is the English word, actually, a legion. You change the gimel to a G. Right? In the old, the G's in C's are very confusing. Like we say Cicero, they said Kikero or something. Yeah, and with the G's as well, it's all confused. So a legion, ha'ivr mimakam lamakim, that's going from place to place. V'nechnas labayas, and they go into a house, habayas tami. The house is tami, shein lecha kol ligyen v'ligyen. There is no such legion, shein lekama karkaflin, that doesn't have many skinned heads, and they would use it for scalps. They would use it for witchcraft. He says, Valtatam, don't be surprised by this. Sharika kafli shel Rabbi Shmuel, even the scalp of Rabbi Shmuel, munach bereish malachim, is in. What do you mean bereish malachim? It's on the king's head.
Mm-hmm.
They put it on his head. I thought they just kept it there for the daughter to look at it.
But then they took it with them, and it says right now, the footnote says it remains in a repository in Rome.
Okay. No, but bereish malachim sounds like that there's a king that's wearing it, that they would put it on. Mm-hmm. Maybe it would help them. Maybe they would help them in their battle. Okay. Well, anyway, the other ones that were kept. So what are we concerned about here? We're concerned about tumas oil. This is an interesting thing. This is a raya that a goy is metame ba'oil. This is a raya.
Didn't it say before, though?
It's machlekes mechaber and ramah. It's machlekes rishonim. If a goy is metame ba'oil. We were talking the whole time about maga. Here it mentions this. I didn't look it up, but that's an interesting thing. What do they say?
It's a matter of tonight to sweep where the corpse of a non-Jew can base tomb by means of oil, or only by means of contact and carry. Since the scalps in possession of the Roman legions were most likely of those of non-Jews, we are compelled to say that this price follows the non-Jewish corpse can base tomb as oil. Chazan Chesko.
Very good.
Alternatively, the Bryson may mean that we suspect among the scalps that there's one that belonged to a Jew.
Chazan Yecheskel is from your town.
From which town?
Wasn't he a Rav in London?
Oh, Yecheskel Abramsky? Yeah? Oh, so he went there to Israel in the end.
Right. Okay. So, new Mishnah. Hamafshit. If someone is taking off the skin of an animal, and the behema, whether it's a animal, b'chaya, whether it's a wild animal, b'tahira, whether it's a kosher animal that's being shechted, ubitmeya, whether it's a non-kosher animal, which means that it's automatically a nevela, b'daka, if it's a small animal, ubagasa, or if it's a large animal, l'shatiach, if he's skinning it in order to make it into a mat, to spread out over either a bed or a table or on the floor, so then it's kedei achiza. What this means is that we're discussing a yad. The animal could be nevela, and if you're going to touch the skin that's sticking off it, then that's considered the handle for the nevela. But if it's very, very long sticking off it, like a lot of, it's almost detached, then if you touch the end of it, then that's not considered a yad. It's not considered like you touched the nevela. You touched the hide, and that's not counted because it's already removed. But we're saying here is that there's a grip that you have on this skin that's considered a yad for the animal. After that grip is going to be tar. After the grip.
Tmeya also? Tmeya also has it?
No. A chaya tmeya would be a nevela.
we say that a chayat doesn't?
I think so. A deer is kosher, but a wild.
What about a wild chayat? They also convey tumah.
Yeah. But and now it works the other way as well. Let's say the person is tummy, and the animal is kosher, and he's touching the skin of the animal. So if he touches the edge of the skin, then he wouldn't make the animal tummy, because the skin isn't really makabel tummy yet, because it wasn't tanned and all of that. It's not really a utensil. But if he touches the flesh, that's considered food, and food would become tummy. So if he's touching the part that's the grip on it, so then he's touching the food. Okay, now that's only if he's taking it off as a mat, which is a certain way of cutting it, where you'd cut it all the way down the back and you would spread it out, you'd peel it off along the sides. So then it's only the grip that would be tummy. But let's say you're skinning it the other way. You want the you want to make a flask. So the way you would skin it is you start from the neck and you skin it down. You skin it down from the neck and you're peeling it over. So sort of like the way you would take off socks, where they end up inside out. Right? So you're peeling it over. It's not you're peeling it down like that. Here you're peeling it over. So that you have to get past the chest. Until you're past the chest is very hard to separate. It's all considered connected. Past the chest, then it's considered separated. Hamargil, this is someone that's peeling it from the back, from the foot. He's peeling it down also the same way. He's folding it over and he's peeling it down. That's kulechibar. That's entirely attached. L'tuma, all of this is for tuma. What does that mean? Li tameh, to become tameh. Ula tameh, and to give off tuma. Or shalat savar. What about the skin that's on the neck? Apparently the skin that's on the neck peels off very, very easily. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuriya me'enechibar. Rabbi Yochanan says that's not considered attached. The skin that's on the neck. We have to see in the Gemara what that means, because if it's still on there, what's the difference if it peels off easily? Chum say no, it is attached until you take it off. The Gemara asks, when we said that it's only the grip, that's tummy. What happens after the grip? Amarav tar hamufshat. The Rav says the part that's taken off is tar. And that's the part that's removed is tar. The part that's still attached to the animal, that's of course going to be tummy. That's a shomer for the flesh. A shomer is tummy, the skin that's attached that we learned before. But the part that's taken off, that's removed already, besides for the grip, is all going to be tahar. Rabasi says, tefach hasamach lebasar tami, that one tefach attached to the grip is also tami. We said the grip, plus it, according to Rabasi, plus a tefach. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question, hamafshit kashir hazeh, someone that removes this amount, that's what's going to be tami. Mikan ve'elech, but from the Arnan, hanigeh b'mufshat tar. If someone touches the part that's removed, this tar, my love, is it not afilu b'tefach hasamach lebasar? Even with the tefach that's close to the meat, it's only the grip that was counted, but the tefach that's close is not is tar. The Gemara says like, no, levad mi tefach hasamach lebasar. It says anything besides for that one tefach. It didn't say clearly that it's excluding that tefach. No, it means that tefach is also considered tummy. Tashma, the skin that's directly opposite the flesh, that's tummy. Directly attached to the flesh is tummy. Or the skin that's connected to the flesh is tummy. But the skin that's next to the flesh is tar. The skin that's directly removed from it, one tefach is tar. We're making a diuk. It's only the part that's attached that's tummy. The part that's right next to it is tar. The Gemara says, Tana, teach it, kol tefach hasamach lebasar, that all of that first tefach that's next to the flesh is shekeneged abasar karle, is considered the meat that's attached to the flesh. Even that first tefach is counted attached. Toshima knows all of this is asking on Rabasi that it's adding a tefach into this that we never saw before. We're saying, oh, that's like automatically included. Toshima, now we quote our Mishnah. Hamafshet, if someone is skinning the animal, and it's a behema, bebachaya, betahira, betemeya, bedaka, begasa, whether it's an animal, a wild animal, a pure animal, or a non-kosher animal, small, large, if you're taking it off in order to be as a mat, kedei achiza, then just the grip is going to be tamei. The tefach hasamach lebasar is tar, but the tefach that's close to the flesh is going to be tar. The Gemara says, "Achamay eskinim b'tefach rishon." See, here you have a brisa that says clearly that the tefach that's close to the flesh is tar. The Gemara says here we're dealing with your very first tefach. You see, when you're skinning an animal, you're using a knife. So at the first, there is no grip. So you need a knife to use it. So you're skinning with a knife. So the first two tvachim, when you're at the first two tvachim, that tefach that's close to the flesh doesn't count as part of the grip, because you're not using a grip, you're using a knife. It's only after you get two tvachim there that you can actually use the two tvachim as the grip. You have one tefach as the grip, and one is the tefach that's sort of like on the other side that you're taking down, that's close to the flesh. So, but that would only be after you already into the skinning of it. So then you'll have that extra tefach. So even though Rabasi says that there's an extra tefach here, that's not the first two tefachim that you're cutting.
And what about shomer? It doesn't have the shomer?
No, because it's not directly attached. Shomer would only be directly. The din of shomer is that it has to be mamish there. Yad was a little different, right? Tana kama kedei achiza tefach. How much is considered a kedei achiza, the grip? It's a tefach. But Tanya tefachayim, we have another brisa that says it's two tefachim. Amar Abaya tefach kafel. It's a tefach that's folded over. I don't know if it means that it's scrunched up and it becomes, it's one tefach, because when the way you grab it, you scrunch it up, or if it means that when you grab it like this, you have a tefach in, and you also you have a tefach around. So I don't know what it means, but it means a folded tefach.
It says over here that when he's grabbing a double tefach, by folding the first two tefachim together and grasping them.
Uh-huh.
It's easier to hold on to if you fold it.
Uh-huh.
Because otherwise it probably slips from the
Uh-huh. Okay. Tani nami hachi. There's another brisa that says kamet kedei achiza. What's considered a grip is tefach kafel, a folded tefach. Okay. Tanan hasam, we taught over there in the Mishnah Masechtas Kelim. Talis shehischil balakara. A talis that you started to tear it. The talis was tamei, and you want it to be tar. So you can put it in the mikveh. But in this case, you tore it. We'll see exactly. But you tore it. Kivan shenikra ruba, once you've reached the majority through ripping it, shuvei nechiber. It's not considered attached anymore. It's tahira, and it's pure. You tore it most of the way. That's good. 51%. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba bar Avua. Rav Nachman says in the name of his father-in-law, Rabba bar Avua, Leishanu ela betalis tevulas yaim. This is only by a talis that you also put in the mikveh. First you put it in the mikveh, and then you started to tear it. See, Reb Nachman is concerned that the halacha is that you need to tear it the majority. Reb Nachman is concerned that maybe you're not going to tear it all the way. You're going to tear it and say, yeah, it looks like it's most of the way. And you're not going to do a good job tearing it most of the way, the majority. So Reb Nachman says only in a case where you don't care about this garment enough that you are ready to put it in a puddle. It needs to be a full mikveh. But you're ready to put it in the mikveh where it's not going to be taken care of so well. You're ruining it when you put it in the mikveh a little bit. But nevertheless, that didn't bother you. So you put it in order to make it pure. So such a person and such a talus where it's enough that it was torn most of the way. Otherwise, we're going to need, if you didn't put it in the mikveh yet, then you're going to need to tear it the whole way. But if it wasn't put in the mikveh, tvul yayim is something that goes into the mikveh and you need to wait for nightfall. Okay, that's the main point here. You're impatient and you want to use it now. You don't want to wait for nightfall, you want it now. So then, loy. Why? Gezerah dilma yasel mekaruba, we have a gezerah that maybe you're not going to tear it most of the way. So this is a very interesting gezerah that Reb Nachman is creating or informing us of. And it's going to disturb a lot of things that we have. We know that all of a sudden we're going to be concerned that maybe the guy's not going to do it the majority. We're going to be concerned about the whole Torah. All our measurements will say that maybe he's not going to do it enough. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, Shtei tshuvas b'davar. There's two responses to this, to Reb Nachman's statement. Chada, first of all, Shema Yem Tefillah Bas Yom Ha'olah. People might say that when you put it into the mikveh, you don't need to wait for nightfall. Why? Because you're using it already before. Okay.
But they didn't see it work.
I don't know. I could answer that easy. Here it's different. He tore it. Maybe if we would always say that it needs to be torn entirely, and here you're not tearing it entirely, it's still attached, people are going to think that that's not enough. And it's just the mikveh that was good enough. But another problem is, and here we get into the problem of, that I mentioned, that this is going to create problems all over. Okay, so what happened is that if there's a korban that's called oila v'yored, that if a person doesn't have enough money to bring the full animal, so he brings birds. Now it's supposed to be a chatas. Instead of bringing a chatas and the animal, he brings two birds. One of them is a chatas and one is an oila. And on the oila it says that he does it kamishpat. The question is, over there in the Gemara, does he do kamishpat like an oila saif, where you're supposed to separate it? Or does he do it like a chatas, where you don't separate it?
Separate
the neck, when you're doing malika. You separate the head. By chatas it says clearly, lo yavdil, do not separate it. So Rabbi Lazar Bar Shimon says that you do most of the way down. Now, you can't do it the whole way because by chatas it says lo yavdil. But we should have a gzeira. That how's it going to work? That if we're concerned that he might not do it, he might not do it roiv, so then how's he going to be able to do shchita according to Rabbi Lazar Bar Shimon Malika, rather according to Rabbi Lazar Bar Shimon? Now Taisus points out.
But doesn't Roiv apply to so many different areas?
Yeah, this is like a
no
big
end
deal.
to
Yeah,
that. That's like you're opening a can of worms. Everything in Torah is Roiv.
Yeah. I forget where this Taisvis was, but the right. So what I saw in Taisvis was that we're only concerned about things that he doesn't want to do for some reason all the way. So therefore, we're going to be concerned that he didn't do it more than half either. That's the issue. So over here, he can't do it all the way. So let's be by the talis, he doesn't want to do it all the way because he's tearing his talis. Over here, he doesn't want to do it all the way because it says in the pasuk lo yavtal, you're not allowed to separate the head. So let's make a gzeira that he's not doing it the majority, which is he has to. Amalei Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef responds to Rabbah. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's going to say. Very good. Baruch Shekivanta. So Rabbi Yosef and Rabbah are contemporaries. Rabbi Yosef responds to Rabbah, the fact that you say that the tefillah, that putting it in the mikveh even before waiting for nightfall is going to make it tahar. So kriya mechiach ala. The tearing it shows that this is different, like you said before. Mamash, you have the whole Rabbi Yosef here.
I didn't need to come to the show.
Yeah, that's right. But you wouldn't have confirmed it. And this that you said, that's Rabbi Elazar bar Shimon, that says that you have to do majority of the malika through the neck. So you say maybe he's not going to do the majority. So Kayanim Zrizim him. The Kayanim are diligent. They do it carefully. That you don't have to be worried about. Tashma, come and listen. Hamafshit bebehemo b'chaya b'tmeya b'tayra b'daka v'gasla sh'tiach k'tei achiza. Quote our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says that someone that's skinning an animal and all these, whether it's a wild or a domesticated or a kosher or non-kosher, small or large, if it's separating the skin in order to make it into a mat. So kedei achiza is tamei. The grip is tamei. Hayasim kedei achiza is tar, but more than a kedei achiza, it's going to be tar. Amai. Why is it tar? Ligzar doma layasel mevad al kedei achiza v'kanagi b'tuma. Maybe he only did a kedei achiza. He only skinned it the amount of the grip, and now it's going to touch tumah, and we're going to say that it's going to be tar. So it's a problem here.
Here he says he's touching tuma, and we might think that he is tar, not the animal, but the person who's touching it.
Right. The animal is tamei.
Yeah.
We're going to
think
think
that he is tar.
We're going to think that he's tar.
Which is a mistake.
Why? Because it's only a kedei achiza. It's not more than a kedei achiza. It's only the amount of the grip.